Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the weigh-in. This is Timo, and I need to get you warmed up immediately because this episode with the Soul Guru is a deep diver. We go to a psychedelic paradise somewhere beyond this realm of existence and perhaps even somewhere inside of our own bodies. But man, this was a mind-body-soul conversation. I think I was out of body for half of it. No drugs were at play, just caffeine. And a strong brotherly connection between Brent and I. This guy is my brother. I knew it from the moment I met him. And to warm you up, I need to read you this quote from one of my favorite books that I've read this year. It's called The Spirit of Zen. It's by Alan Watts, the late Alan Watts. R.I.P. Alan, and thank you for this book. It's as follows. The mind is its own place, and of itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. Therefore, the mind is the key to life, for under illusion it creates confusion, and when clarified, it reveals the Buddha nature. Thus, in Zen, as in almost all the religions of the East, the essential task is to master the mind. Okay. So, Brent, the Soul Guru, without further ado, I think it's time to weigh in. I want to jump you right in the conversation. There are a couple moments where I forget what I'm talking about, but do go to the show notes at timoway.com/soulguru, and we'll get you linked up with Brent and with all of the crazy things that we talk about. So, as usual, open up your eyes, open up your ears, open up your mind, and let's weigh in. So we're live.
Awesome. I love it. That coffee was, I think, really strong.
Yeah, I brew it strong.
That was strong. I'm feeling it.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, Brent.
What's going on, Timo?
Brent Hruska.
Yes,
the Soul Guru. And welcome. This is I've got this thing. It's called the weigh-in.
Love it.
Interpret it how you want it.
Yep.
But I think we're here boxing, and we're weighing in on something here.
Okay, nice.
So, who are you? You're the Soul Guru, master of mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
How would you describe to someone what your mission in life is at the moment?
Well, my mission in life, in the moment, is trying to create and bring on the ground my vision for creating a sanctuary, a place for people to go, so they can reconnect to their true selves, kind of exit from society, from all the responsibilities, exit from their families, whatnot, for a period of time, so they can let all those layers of influence fall away, so then they can come back to that inner voice. Because a lot of people are always trying to ask me, how do I connect to my inner voice? But there are so many voices inside of your head, or different sensations and things guiding you, right? So you're like, which one's my actual intuition, right? Like, which one's like this quote-unquote guru, right? But it's near impossible to figure out while you're in the muck, when you're involved deep in work and you've been working for 10, 15, 20, 50 years or whatever, and you're in a long-term relationship and family, and you got all these responsibilities, right? So you have to exit for a while and go to a place where you can let all those things subside. I remember I had a friend who I think she was a Buddhist nun for 4 years, and she would always describe meditation or reflection like a glass of water with sand in it. And imagine your mind is like the sand stirred up in the glass of water. And if you let that glass sit long enough, the sand will come to the very bottom of the cup, and then the water will be clear again. It's the same thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So peace through stillness.
Yep.
That's it. That's a powerful metaphor.
Yep. And then everything's easy, because then your body guides you to what it wants to do, how it wants to move, if it needs to nap, it needs to rest, what it needs to eat, and then you can really tell and pay attention to, like, what do I feel like when I drink way too much coffee? What do I feel like when I actually go swimming or eat lots of fruits and vegetables and all those different things, and become in tune with like your digestive system, and what are you feeling about certain things and all that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
This may be related or unrelated, but I'd really I don't know if I can wait to ask, but
Okay.
you told me a story about the cafe on the ledge.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to say, what is the cafe on the ledge?
Oh, totally.
Because I think a lot of people will find themselves in this cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe even just wanting to go to the cafe. But
yes. So the cafe on the ledge is, I heard in a workshop when I was at ISTA, at the very end of the workshop, you go through this whole transformational process, really awakening to your emotions and your personal boundaries and sexuality and all these different things. But then you're going to go back into your own reality. And so Bruce, which was one of the main facilitators and teachers, gave this incredible speech. And it reminded me so vividly of what happened in the past. Let's say, so about 6 years ago, I really, really wanted to go to India, right? I had traveled out of the country a couple times, and I was ready to go to India. And I was like, okay, I'll get to India by starting a personal training business, right? So I started a personal training business, got sucked into that, got deep into a long-term relationship, then decided to go really deep into bodybuilding and got completely sucked away from that. And then leading all the way like 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road, that's when I got to everything basically falling apart and ended up in Guatemala. So the cafe on the ledge is where you finally realize your purpose, your passion, your true calling, like really why you are here on this earth and what you need to do. And it's vividly clear. It's not like I kind of want to do this or like maybe this is my calling. Like there's no mistake about it. It's like the alchemist. Like he knew he had to go to the pyramids, into the desert, sell all his sheep, right? So that moment comes and you feel that intensity inside you and you're ready to jump off the ledge, to make that full commitment, cut all the strings and go head first. Fear or no fear, just go for it. But before you jump and you're on the ledge, you decide, I'm going to have a cup of tea. So you sit down and you have a cup of tea. And so you're having a cup of tea. You're like, I'm just going to have a cup of tea before I jump. And then comes along someone else who has felt the same intensity in their life. They have a purpose, they have a passion, they have a mission they want to do, and they're ready to commit to it full 100%. And then they see, as they're ready, just about to jump off the ledge, they see someone else having a cup of tea.
This is a really great cafe.
And they say,
screw my passion.
So they say, what are you doing? You're like, well, I'm going to jump, but I'm just going to have a cup of tea real quick. I'm just having a cup of tea. You're like, oh, cool. Well, can I join you? He's like, yeah, of course. So now a couple people are having a cup of tea, and more people come along that are getting ready to jump, and they're like, wow, that's great. Can I join you guys and have a cup of tea before I jump? So now you have all these people hanging out, having a cup of tea, right? And everybody gets this great idea that we should open a cafe. We should open a cafe. This is such an amazing spot. Yeah, let's do it. So they open a cafe. It serves incredible tea. It's got this beautiful lookout. Then they're like, we should have workshops here. This would be the perfect place to have workshops. And we should do yoga. Yes. So now all people from all around the world come and they do yoga and workshops and all those different things. And they start serving like, plant-based meals, and they have like a permaculture farm, and it's amazing, right? And it's all loving and beautiful, right? And then eventually the city says, whoa, guys, you can't have a cafe that close to the ledge. Like, it's super dangerous, right? So they come in and they put up a chain link fence along the edge so no one can fall off, so no one can hurt themselves, right? So cafe's running. Everyone's having a great time. And then one day, someone just walks straight past the cafe, climbs the fence, and jumps off, right? So, and then everyone wakes up and goes, oh my God, I remember why we're here in the first place. And that's what happened to me with the India was I had that moment. It wasn't as intense as it is now that I knew I needed to jump. I ignored it, went back into this whole cycle of all these different things in my life. And then now I've remembered by going to Guatemala, and now I'm going to jump off that cafe on the ledge.
Yes.
So don't stay hanging out at the cafe too long, because life will guide you back just a little more. It'll give you some 2x4s to guide you.
Gosh, that hits home. That hits home.
Yep.
That reminds me of the idea of resistance too. If you've read the book The War of Art, The whole book is about the cafe on the ledge, in essence.
Yeah.
About this thing, resistance. You know what you need to do.
I love that book.
And you will always be fought. And the bigger that thing is that you need to do, the more resistance. It's like each little task that you need to do to get to your final task, saving the princess or whatever story arc you want to use, there's a mini boss along each way until you get to the final boss.
Yep.
But that's even the final boss is going to come back.
Yep.
Bowser always returns.
Yep.
That's a great story.
And that's why you got to do it. That's why you have to do. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like you have to continually push yourself out your comfort zone, but you have to do it. At least for me, it works best when you do it like in a sprint style fashion, where you push out your comfort zone and then you rest. Then you push out your comfort zone and then you rest. You can't continually just keep breaking down barriers, at least for me, because it's a whole process of mental fatigue, emotional fatigue, and it affects the body too. But there's that fine line between pushing out your comfort zone and resting, and then are you going back into that place of procrastination, right? So it's a little bit of you don't quite feel ready, but you're excited to do that. That's when you're like, okay, I got to just do it, right? Because you're never just going to be like, yep, I feel great, everything's perfect, I'm going to sit at the cafe, I'm going to type my book now, I'm going to make those calls, I'm going to do the website. It's like, no, you got to, there's always going to be some discomfort because it's outside your comfort zone. So of course that's when you got to take action, but you got to be excited about it a little bit.
You got to welcome the muses onto your shoulder. Right?
Exactly.
You mentioned in that story, the cafe on the ledge, that there was a moment. It sounds like there were two moments. One moment was in India where you realized what that thing was for you. And then the second moment in Guatemala.
Well, so I never made it to India.
You never made it to India.
I never made it, right?
So India was the ledge,
India
or the other side of the ledge. In other words,
and opening the business was to help accomplish that. But then I must have had a bunch of other trials and tribulations and growth I needed to go through, and I definitely did that. But then eventually, all those things just weren't working in my life, like my business and figuring out what I need to do just kind of fell apart. But no matter how hard I tried, it just was going to fall apart anyway.
Why is that?
Just because I wasn't paying attention to what my true calling was. But I honestly, there was no way I could have figured it out until I got literally sucked out of the country.
And what happened in Guatemala? What was this moment that sucked you out of the country and then...
Well, so first time I went to Guatemala, my friend Tamala, she, gave me an incredible gift to help to go with her and house sit for Aaron and Milena, who run Running Buffalo Journeys, who do like a transformational, like 2-week adventure around Guatemala. So we did that, and then we ended up in San Marcos in Guatemala, and they went back to the States and visit family and friends because they hadn't been back in a while. So we were house sitting, and so at 3 months where I didn't have to do anything and just watch this house in the eternal spring, they call it, and just
not a bad deal. Oh man.
And it's funny because I think back to it, it's like you think if, oh cool, you get to go live somewhere for 3 months, and it's just like, wow, it's so amazing, that person's so lucky, and it's just going to be so incredible. But it was like it felt like one of the most difficult things I had ever done, as well as such a blessing too. It was extremely challenging, even though I didn't have to do anything, which is so strange. It really made everything that was shadow inside of me kind of like bubble up.
Would you say it was an opportunity for your sandy glass to be still?
Oh, hugely.
And let all that
sand
settle to the bottom, so to speak?
Oh, hugely, yeah. A lot of my mornings would be spent, there was 2 dogs, Lhasa and Sachi, right? 2 cool dogs, basically like my spirit guide dogs. We'd just hang out, right? And then I'd make like a giant pot of French roast coffee, right? I'd just drink a bunch of that, and then I would play like trance music in the living room, and then I would like work out on the TRX and then dance around, and then I would just get my notebook out and would just, whatever thoughts and streams of consciousness would come, I'd just write different stuff, write different ideas, because I was trying to figure out I loved personal training and helping people, but I was so burnt out on it, and I knew it needed to go deeper. So trying to constantly dig, like, what is this next evolution, right? And so that was kind of my process every day. And then I would go walk to the market, try to buy some vegetables, and the little girl who would, I would buy them from, she would give me evil glares because I didn't know any Spanish. And then I'd go home, I'd like cook some, I'd make a can of black beans and like eat a whole watermelon and then just eat like a jalapeno. And then later in the day, I'd just go swimming, clear out my own energy. And then that would much be my day every day.
This is for people who are listening. This does not sound very difficult.
No. Literally, it doesn't take a lot of work.
Where in Guatemala was this as well?
This is on Lake Atitlan in San Marcos.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I've only seen pictures.
That's an incredible
Some
place.
of your pictures.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So then at what point, where was this moment? You're doing this day-to-day thing, writing, diving in, trying to dig deeper. At what point, when did you get to that doorway to the next level?
Well, it really started to make a shift where I remember I kept seeing these advertisements for this place called New Beginnings. And New Beginnings is run by this incredible woman. I like to describe my friend as Mother Willow. Do you remember Pocahontas?
Yeah, I'm thinking, you said that and I was thinking Avatar. I guess they're the same story.
Similar. So like in
yeah, I remember.
In Pocahontas, where Pocahontas, she has questions about life and how everything works and how it makes sense. She goes to Mother Willow.
Gotcha.
The giant tree that's like basically like
has a face in it, right?
Yeah, it's like this ancient thing, right? And this tree is basically like old, like so old, like spirit and wisdom knowledge, right? Like thousands of years old, right? And holds all the wisdom of like how nature and everything works together and how everything actually works. But at the same time, she has that spirit of like a young child, just happy and playful and just full of humor, never taking anything too seriously. That was Edith, who ran New Beginnings. And I signed up to do a 3-day intensive workshop where you stay at her house basically, and it's a ceremony of learning. It's the entire experience of being there is a ceremony. It's a ceremony of learning different dimensions. It's a ceremony of forgiving yourself and others. It's a ceremony of shedding different layers. It's a ceremony of learning numerology and just really intensifying and being present with yourself, and doing a lot of different kinds of breathing techniques to release trapped emotional energies and things like that. And just the experience of being with her and the knowledge she shared with me was just one of the most that's when it took the whole experience to a deeper level, and also allowed me to release and know how to process the intensities I was experiencing while living in that area. Because living on that lake is a vortex. It's a vortex of intense energy. So anything you got going on, whether it's amazing or not amazing, is coming up, and it's coming up fast.
Amplified.
Hugely.
What was one of the techniques that was most helpful in that workshop in terms of helping you break through or shedding layers of emotion or seeing something about yourself that maybe you hadn't realized before that was hiding, that shadow self that's walking around with you, and you turn around like, aha, gotcha.
And it's funny because it's like it wasn't necessarily there were specific habits I could see. It was just more feelings and sensations, right? Mm-hmm. Almost like when your energy is trying to move forward and you get inspired to do something, feeling a block not to do it, right? And it doesn't even have to like be anything very specific. So the breathing techniques were really amazing. We would practice these breathing techniques, loop breathing, right?
What's loop breathing?
So loop breathing is where you have no pause at the top of the breath, no pause at the bottom of the breath, and you have an open throat, and you breathe deep into your diaphragm and chest, and then you breathe back out. And it's like a gas pedal. If you want to intensify the sensations, You can breathe deeper and faster. If you want to slow it down, you can breathe slower, but you keep the breath moving. And as you keep breathing, you're starting to pull in more and more in air, and you start to experience wild sensations.
So this is like, there's no pause at the top, no pause at the bottom. So
but through the mouth, so lots of air. Exactly. And you keep going. And you can do it up from 30 minutes to an hour.
30 minutes?
To longer, yeah. And then after,
if I did that for 60 seconds, I'd probably pass out.
And then what you do is you lay down, and then you process. You put on some kind of like binary music or music to like help sync your brain waves, whatnot, and then you just allow whatever comes up to come up.
Interesting.
And then you just let it come up, and then afterwards you can either journal it or leave it be, or just
pure breathing. Pure breathing.
Super psychedelic
Incredible.
Experience without.
There's science, but science. But there was an article this past week that I read that talked about exactly that breathing can induce psychedelic
big time.
Experience.
Hugely.
Purely breathing.
Yep.
And this guy, Wim Hof, is out there just breathing and running up Everest in his shorts.
Oh, wow.
So he's just about breathing. So this is another great example of it's use your breath.
Big time. Oh, yeah.
Something we forget about all the time.
Yeah. Holotropic breathing.
Holotropic breathing is what this is called. This is something else. So there's loop breathing that we just discussed, and now
I mean, I'm not an expert
breathing.
on the names of all these different breathings, but
I mean, hell, it's breathe in, breathe out in a different way.
But you can definitely travel some pretty wild places.
Incredible.
Yeah. If you could, like breathwork ceremonies, usually focus on doing almost like a plant medicine style ceremony, but using the breath to travel instead of plant medicine.
So instead of ayahuasca or peyote or, just breath.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about the atmosphere that, how could you, I want to ask a million questions.
Do it.
You talked about in the beginning, we're this, I really love that metaphor, that glass with all the sand in it, or sugar, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But what's something that you carry with you from that experience? Is there a breathing technique that you use in your day-to-day that can help you?
That breathing technique is actually best, I feel, having somebody be grounded and hold space for you, or to do it with somebody as well. At least they can guide you. I've tried several times to do it on my own, and it's just, the sensation is so intense, and the feelings that come up, I just feel like I get too lost.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's
almost like you need a trip guide.
Kind of,
and a breathing guide.
For sure.
I mean, we're talking 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah. And when I was down there,
That's intense. The average person that I know doesn't even think to breathe 3 times in a day.
Yeah.
So 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I bet there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So you're in this workshop. You learn the breathing techniques, and you have a breakthrough.
Well, so it just starts to really open my eyes, and kind of being in Lake Atilan itself was already starting to bubble up and purge. This was just helping process that out of me faster.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yep.
So it's like it was a zit ready to pop, and then now someone's actually pushing the goo out, right?
Sure.
And then eventually, on the third night or second night, I can't remember, the breathing technique is to help you through, we did a plant medicine ceremony, just one-on-one. And so you practice this actual breathing in the plant ceremony to help you go a little deeper as well.
Which plant was it?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but interesting part of this story is in that plant medicine ceremony, one of the most vivid things I saw and experienced was, and it wasn't, and this part is not just like it was vivid. It was like I was there. Like I literally traveled back or forward or parallel to whatever dimension or time this was, and there I was laying there as Edith, Mother Willow, was singing, traditional indigenous songs, and boom, I was traveled back into another time where I was in a cave. I was looking at my hands. I was indigenous of some sort, and I was looking at like these cave walls, and it was as if I was in another time, like Avatar, and I was connected to that same person at the same time, myself, and then that other self, long ago or in the future or at the same time. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, I remember that super vivid moment, and I was just like, I'm actually here, and I'm looking around, going, "Whoa."
What were you doing in there?
I was just. So it was just a little bit of a glimpse, right? It was just like in like Westworld. You just get a glimpse of this intensity of like, oh my gosh, I'm in a room where people are operating on me with computers and stuff, right? But I was a Native American, in a cave. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. That's intense.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. So that experience happens or is connected to another experience when I returned to Guatemala another 6 months later.
Tell me more.
So then 6 months later, when I returned to Guatemala, I had finished a 7-day intensive workshop. I was told about the Cafe on the Ledge. So I had one more week, and it was me and my sister. We were staying at Tamila's house. I'd gotten off the boat, and I walked into where Tamila is living with my sister, and they're hanging out, and they're talking about their experiences because I hadn't seen them in a week. And I had just come out of this super intense workshop. Like, my shit got rocked, and I'm starting to feel the world like close in and collapse on me. Like I'm literally having this weird blackout. Like I'm about to turn into like a little baby fetus and then just like fall on the ground and then melt away. Right. So they're talking, moving around on me and around me, and I'm having this like out of body experience. And then all of a sudden I feel like I'm about to pop, kind of like in the Matrix when they're like, breathe, and then he throws up because they're like, he's going to pop.
Yeah, after he realizes everything's been a lie.
Yeah. So I'm like, they're like, breathe. And then all of a sudden I just start bawling, like bawling harder than I've ever bawled. Maybe
he popped.
And I hadn't been able, funny thing is I hadn't been able to cry forever. And I even purposely tried over the years just to be like, I think I need to do this. It's like knowing you need to go to the restroom. Like, I just need to go. Like, just do it. It's like I could never make it happen. And then whatever that workshop did just popped something open in me that I couldn't consciously unlock. And then I just fell apart in their arms. And they were just so good to me, like nurturing me and taking care of me. And I was just like bawling. Like, how am I ever going to go back in the real world? I've done it now. I've completely torn myself apart. Like, I can't even function, right? So I'm just bawling. And then I'm starting to do a little better. And then Tamila was like, let's just go run your energy, because she does Reiki and she does hypnotherapy. And
we got to go visit Tamila's house.
And then Tamila's house
this is
one
awesome,
of
the key takeaways for me.
Yeah. Tamila's house.
Tamila, we're coming for you.
Yeah, she's going to make us some good Middle Eastern food.
The benefits keep adding up.
Just keep adding up, right? And so then she's like, let's go run your energy. And so Tamila,
run your energy. Now, what does this mean? Run your energy.
So she was just going to do Reiki on me, so move energy up and down and whatnot. So she always told me when we first met that I had the ability to channel and that we could do that work together. But when we would try, my mind wouldn't be able to get out of the way. I wanted to do it, but when we would try to channel, I couldn't get my actual mind out of the way to let just some spirit, some voice, something come through without me influencing it, because I wasn't going to do it unless I knew it was true, authentic, and real, right? Like, I have a half gypsy self, but I also have a half pragmatic, logical thinking, right? So it's like, if it's truly happening, it needs to be a real experience. I can't influence it slightly. So I would always have my
channeling.
Yeah.
So what are we channeling here?
So,
or what were you channeling?
So this is what happened. So I lay down. She's like, let's run your energy. So now at this point, because of that workshop, I'm able to just hold my presence and my awareness without thought, right? So I'm laying there and she starts guiding energy up and down me. And I can feel energy moving through my body like I had never felt before. Like, I'm just like, wow. Whoa. Like, I had nerves and sensations that woke up in me that I never knew were there, right? So I have this, it feels like, you ever see at those car dealerships when they blow air up through those guys and they wobble through
Oh
the
yeah.
air.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm talking about? Right? They're like they're trying to get people's attention.
I'm picturing the Family Guy episode. There's
or-
a clip of those guys. I
Yeah.
forget what they're called.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Yep.
where she tries to copy it. She has a dance battle with it.
So that was you.
Yeah, so so this energy is now running up and down me, and she's clearing. Now she's moving each chakra, like clearing out energy through like crown chakra and heart chakra, and I'm starting to literally vibrate and move off the table, and I'm starting to breathe and make sounds to the point where my sister's like, no more, I'm out, this is too weird, I'm gone. She leaves.
This sounds like an exorcism.
Yeah, it was super wild. Now I'm at the point where there's so much energy channeling through me, my spine is like levitating off of the table, right? And at points she has to remind me to breathe because I don't even need to breathe anymore. I'll pull up so much air into my body and then I'll just stop breathing for like 15-20 seconds, and then she'll be like, breathe, and then I'll start breathing again. And then eventually she must have noticed and was like, this is a perfect time to do this because he's so open. She goes, now I call forth Brent's higher self, right? So then now this is when it gets like wild. So now she goes calling forth Brent's self. He's coming through. So now in the middle of my back, I start to feel these like bolts of like energy like shoot up into me, move up into me, and then expand. It's almost like a lightning bolt goes right through my spine and goes boom, circuited energy. And I feel like 15% boom go into me. And I feel 20% boom, like I'm getting filled up more and more, like something loading until it gets to 100%. And eventually, all of a sudden, this last piece of energy just hits me, and then I just scream. I go, woo! And then I look at my hands, and it's like I woke up for the first time. What it felt like is if this like energy or spirit came up through a bunch of different levels, and then fully came inside of me, and then woke up. Right? And it was inside of me. And then Tamla just looks at me and says, welcome home, brother. And I'm laughing my ass off now. I'm just like cackling. And then I start speaking in, have you ever seen the movie Apocalypto?
I have, yeah.
So you know, like that kind of,
Great
that
movie.
language?
Yes.
I was speaking like that, like just talking to myself, looking. And meanwhile, my consciousness is floating here going, holy shit, this is crazy. But I'm like, just stay aware. Don't try to go into thought, right? Because I'm just trying to let whatever's happening happen, right? And so that's happening, and I'm awake. I'm more awake than I've ever been. So she starts to guide me into asking questions. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, relax. Just let it actually happen this time. To actually let the spirit or whatever it is channel through me. So she asks, she would ask, what is Brent's next step? What is his next step? And so I would feel this energy come up through me, and then I would just remember trying to relax my throat, and then it would be like these words would come out of me that were in that different language, like wakatika, and then eventually it would relax.
So you were actually speaking this other language.
Yeah. And then eventually I relaxed to the point where she would keep saying, speak English, English, you can speak English, right? And then eventually words would come out. Like, it would come out. And then eventually it was like, Peru. She would go, what's his next step? And then eventually what came out was go to Peru. It was go to Lake Titicaca. It was bring back the wisdom and knowledge of the earth back to the people. And it was like, when is he supposed to go? And it just kept saying, now. And asked a bunch of other questions, and eventually brought the energy back down, settled everything, calmed me, and then, brought that spirit back out of me, fully brought myself back in, guided me down, and then just had me rest, and then it was over. And I'm just laying there, just feeling amazing, but extremely tired. I was sore for a week after that. I had contracted my muscles so hard, I didn't even know I was doing it while it was happening. Like it was just this like giant circuit surge of energy inside of me. So
incredible.
So after that, she's like, you should rest, but I'm gonna go out and see the shaman. Do you want to go see the shaman? Like, well, at this point, why not, right? So we get up and we go out, and the shaman, he's hanging out on the main kind of like street where travelers and passerby people go and all this, and she tells him, yeah, he's just had a channeling experience, and he's kind of looking at me just really kind eyes, just like, okay. And then I think he sells drums too, so he just starts playing one of his hand drums, and my body just starts to move. Every time he hits the drum, the body is uncontrollably dancing, like as if I'm looking at him going, can you see this? Like, and then the body itself is just like starting to dance around, especially if he starts drumming faster. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And ever since that point, ever since this experience, I've been able to feel and move energy through my body like I've never been able to ever before. It never went away, to be able to pull energy in and move energy and all those different things. So ever since that point, when I returned home, I was like, I know what I need to do. I just got to figure it out.
Wow. So this is that's incredible. So you became someone else. It's like
or myself. I don't know. Either myself from another time. I was like, I got pulled. It was as if it's like if you were watching the movie Avatar and they were like, okay, we're going to send you into this dimension. And so then, the people or tribals people or the medicine woman guided that spirit into another dimension. And then somehow that body on that side, who was me, got the opportunity to have it be pulled all the way through and then speak whatever needed to happen, and then got to channel back down to wherever it was from.
And this all resulted. So you had this long journey. You went to, this was ISTA, ISTA. Mm-hmm. What does that stand for?
International School of Temple Arts.
International School of Temple Arts. So you went there for a couple weeks or a workshop?
So it was a 7-day workshop.
7-day workshop.
Yeah.
And then following that, you had a lot of breakthroughs, or just came out of that in this incredible place. Then you're at Tamala's, who's this incredible person.
Yeah.
That through Reiki and other work that she was doing.
She's just, she's studied Reiki and all these different things, but she's just born with a raw natural talent tapped in.
Wow.
So
she's kind of a shaman in a way.
So what to call her is
It's Tamala.
It's Tamala.
It's Tamala. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a story. It reminds me, there's a lot of story arcs. Have you ever seen that movie with Hugh Jackman?
Which one?
Where I don't remember the name, but it has to do with the Tree of Life, where he recognizes his past lives, and the entire movie is really his past life as a conquistador going to South or Central America, somewhere in Mesoamerica, to find the Tree of Life.
Wow.
And it's connected with his current life, and his mission is to try to save his wife. So in the past, he's going to Mesoamerica to save the queen.
Wow.
From the Inquisition. And in his present day life, he's attempting to create a cure for cancer, tumors.
Wow.
And both lead to the Tree of Life.
Wow.
I think you would be interested.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
I just saw it for the first time.
Really?
So I'll plug it into the show notes for this and send it to you later.
Yes.
I can't remember the name for the heck of me.
Nice.
I could Google it real fast, but now what? I don't even have the internet here. So this is like the story of the awakening of the soul guru.
Yes.
It sounds like your mission is to go to Peru, learn and return here, or just learn and return that knowledge to the people. It sounds like this is really the core of
the first time I went to Guatemala
campaign.
Yeah, so the first time I went to Guatemala was when I was trying to figure out the next evolution of just personal training in general. And then I had also asked myself, what would be something that would bring me amazing pleasure, that would be a place where I could, share my gifts and my services and help people. And it's something the way I would want to live my own life. So I was like, I would love to have a place like a sanctuary where I live deep in somewhere in a beautiful place, it's Mother Nature, that offered all things like yoga and trainings, and also had a farm where people could eat really amazing food that was healthy, fruits and vegetables, and they could see how it's prepared and prepare it themselves, because it's the best way they can learn, and have a place where I can offer coaching or guidance, and other people can, as well as a place that, people could like become stronger, lift weights, exercise, fitness, and all integrated, all things, right? Kind of having this
holistic.
Yeah.
approach.
So that was a vision I had the first time, and then the second time when I went to Guatemala and had the channeling experience, that's when I really awoken, and the two pieces fit together. That I needed to continue traveling to have more experiences and grow my own spirit in different ways and understand new knowledges and embody them, and then eventually I would be able to open a place like that. But I just wasn't, my soul wasn't. It hadn't grown or matured enough in all those different things to quite open that yet. Mm-hmm. And once I had that channeling experience, I knew, okay, there's still things I need to do, fears I need to face through traveling solo, learning from other teachers around the world, right? And once I go through that process, I know then I'll be ready to root somewhere, and then have people come to me, then I can offer those teachings. But my own maturation or growth is not completely finished yet, right? And so when I return home, I go, how am I going to do this? So living back in modern day society, or whatever you want to call it, the U.S., was really challenging after coming from those experiences, living a really simple life.
And Tamila's house is...
it's the place to be.
A freaking fantasy compared to just our normal mentality
and
in
just
the States,
way
right?
people communicated with each other, and the connection, and not having to drive a car at all, and
everything
just so connected to everything. But and when I first returned, I got pretty depressed when I got back home. To the point where I was just so frustrated I didn't understand how I'm going to get from A to B. And then one day I just said, you know what? I have to figure out how to master both worlds. I have to figure out how to work inside this matrix and get to where I want to be to do what I want to do, right? And then that's when I was like, I need to create something that can get me there. And so with that thought, I began deepening my search. And in the same time, I had a friend back home I would share things with. It's an incredible friend who I would share, who lived in the Matrix, and I could tell her stories, and I knew sometimes she knew what I was talking about, and sometimes she didn't.
The Matrix being modern,
U.S.
Western society.
Yep.
Okay.
And she said to me one day, after I was telling her different things about myself and sometimes giving her advice, she said, you're like my soul guru. And that was the moment I was like, that's it. That's the next evolution of this business. I'm going to create a website. I'm going to blog about my travels, so people can awaken themselves, so it can bring resources to me to get to where I need to be, and also share this message and have people come to me who want to help this grow and share all this wisdom and knowledge and the experience. Because healing is in the sharing. When you hold space for someone and they share, you're allowing them to heal deeply or change or transform, but you are also having a similar experience, right? Anytime I've ever coached somebody or worked with somebody, I have seen myself and them, and you feel that interconnectedness, and you grow through them being vulnerable and sharing.
I'm nodding my head in agreement.
Nice.
I heard a few things that I like to highlight that you said. One, this journey of traveling, but also more importantly, intentionally traveling, your intention being to, among other things, learn, find teachers to teach you to become greater. That's very similar to like Zen philosophy, Zen Buddhist, the Bodhisattva of the point itself is not to be in meditation at all times. You have to return. The path of this enlightened one is really to go into these places to learn, go into meditation to learn. In this case, go to travel to learn, and then return to teach others so that they may also begin their own journey. So I really want to acknowledge you for that awesome journey that you're doing. And the other piece that I think is important to highlight is the aspect of sharing this knowledge, but also the mentality of what can I do to be of service to others. We hear people who want to travel, who want to escape. Escaping is one thing. You go, you escape, and then learn.
Yep.
The most important part is on that return journey, the learning, absorbing, teaching.
Yes.
And how can I be of service to others sounds like one big piece of your breakthrough.
Yeah.
Not how can I make money? How can I do this for me? How can I do this for me?
Yeah.
It's entirely based in service.
Yeah, because if you just want to go live, somewhere in another country for really cheap and just be chilling all the time, that's not that hard to do.
Right.
But eventually, like I realized when living in Guatemala, you get bored after a while.
Yes.
It's boring living in paradise if you're not serving and helping and giving and doing it loses. There's no life in that.
And what is paradise?
It's fun, and it's fun for maybe a couple weeks, but eventually you get bored.
Yep.
Right. It doesn't matter how beautiful or heavenly it is, right? And so
exactly. Yeah, paradise, in biblically speaking, is a walled garden.
Yep.
You had to. I mean, Eve, that whole story where Eve, I guess, had to get an apple and hand it to Adam. Damn you women, why would you have to give man knowledge? I don't know. We fell from paradise. Anyway, the walled garden idea, that's what paradise is. And paradise sounds a lot like the cafe on the ledge.
Yeah.
Story-wise. You're in this cafe. Where you want to be is on the other side of that wall, on the other side of that cliff. There's a fence there between you and experiencing and being the full you, in leaning into that world to become whatever it is that you were meant to become.
Yeah. So going on this journey is a representation of fully committing to jumping off the ledge. And I know if I do that and trust it, then everything will work out however it's supposed to, no matter what happens. And how can I teach people to fully make the jump off the ledge if I don't do it myself first?
Exactly.
I have to completely, fully make that leap, or I can't fully teach someone what it means to do the same thing.
So where are you today? Are you at the cafe? Are you on the edge? Or
I'm
have
at
you
the cafe,
have you
and
jumped off?
I'm super ready. It took me a long time to get to the cafe, and that's what I think a lot of people need to understand is you got to be gentle with it, because you can't just jump. You can figure out what the ledge is for you, but then you've created a lot of karma, or all your actions and relationships and thoughts and feelings and everything you've done has built a life that you have now, right? And has built many different things, that you have now. And it takes a process of undoing or changing those things to get to the point to be able to make that leap. Some people can do it right away. Some people might take a year or two or more to consciously undo those karmic situations in your life, so you can finally fully do that. And that's what I had to do. I had to come back home. I had to face my debt, focus on paying it off. I had to, focus on lots of other different things, material and relationships, to work on them so I could get myself to that point, and as well build the resources to be able to even do it, to have it finally be able to be in the place to fully do it. Because I could have just said, okay, I'm not going to come back from Guatemala, but that I still would have had debt. I still would have had no way to make money. I would have left a bunch of clients behind, creating more bad karma or whatever, and I still wouldn't have had a super clear vision of what I needed to do and how to do it. So you have to go through that whole process. And sometimes that's harder because you have to stay conscious, hold that focus, that intention of getting to the ledge and working your way there. Because it's easy to get sucked back into other frivolous desires and wants and needs. So easy.
Even getting to the cafe.
Exactly. It's a trek. It takes a long time. And that's part of the sanctuary as well.
Or knowing that you can't, even knowing that the cafe exists.
Yeah.
Exists.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Getting people to, traveling, I think it's one manifestation of this idea. I've been in there. I was in an office world, in a nice cubicle, commuting to a computer under fluorescent light. What the hell is this world? The world inside the computer screen, thanks to Google, looked a lot nicer. But I had to learn, okay, I can leave this situation. There's cafes all over the freaking place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that might be step one.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask you, so this is an incredible journey that you've just shared, at least part of it that you've shared with us. So for that person, let's say that person who is in the office, or that person who's maybe starting wherever the heck they are. It doesn't have to be an office. Maybe you're mowing lawns or selling Pokemon cards, whatever it might be.
For sure.
How can you begin? Maybe you have questions. What's a good place to start?
Well, for me, your life is always trying to guide you. You just have to first believe that your soul, your spirit, your guru is trying to communicate with you. And that connection is not super strong in the beginning, right? It's been trying to speak to you, but you just don't know. So you have to start to pay attention to any kind of breadcrumb that's coming your way. Like that feeling of, I kind of want to go to that yoga class, but I'm scared or whatever. Like sit, breathe, and think about that a little more, right? Or, if you're having feelings, basically your emotions are what are going to guide you the best. If you're super unhappy at work and you feel sick, explore those feelings. What are they guiding you to do? Are they guiding you to leave, or are they guiding you to stay? And try to get more clear about your own emotions. And your emotions will start to guide you in the direction of, more and more vivid breadcrumbs, and you'll begin to get more and more clarity. And you just got to kind of trust that and follow that.
Yeah, don't have fear. Just be okay with listen to your heart, or listen to yourself, or start to, I'd say, write down what are those voices in your head saying. Be aware of the voices in your head.
Yeah.
Just maybe some awareness.
Yeah. Just keep asking yourself, how do I feel about this? Do I like this? Do I not like this? Why do I like this? Why do I not like this? Do I, if I'm doing this, if I'm going out at night, and I wake up the next day, do I feel fulfilled and happy? Did it bring me a lot of joy, or did it not? And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And just if you keep guiding your actions or making changes based on those answers that your own intuition or self is giving you, slowly you'll start to get more clarity.
Great.
Right? And it'll get stronger, and you just keep it's not you're not trying to mentally, intellectually figure out. You'll never do it. I've tried it for years and years and years, and it just won't ever happen. You just have to breathe and ask the question, pay attention to your emotions, and then wait for the answers to appear, and soon you'll start to see them more and more clearly.
Get out of your head.
Yes, get out of your head.
You're in your head, you're dead.
In your head, you're dead.
And another piece that there's a fun quote. I'm going to loosely paraphrase it. I might actually get it right on, but it's by Maya Angelou. I used it at the beginning of a travel talk that I gave to motivate people to at least get people to the cafe, so to speak.
Nice.
There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you.
Wow.
And it's like applause, Maya, because if we don't start listening and we don't start trying to act on what our dreams are, that's going to lead to some really unfulfilling situations.
For sure. And
so why not try?
And if in your life you're experiencing a lot of roadblocks and it feels like just nothing is flowing, that's life just trying to get you to pay attention more and more and more and more. Right? So anytime you have experiences, you feel like, why isn't this working? Why is this falling apart? And you're trying to orchestrate it to what you want, then maybe life's not wanting you to go that direction. Maybe because that's not your purpose and where your passion lies. And you got to let go of the intellectual part. Because I've done it in the past with bodybuilding. I used my mind to focus myself into a place of a certain look and a certain physique and training 2 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. But that is not what my soul or body wanted. But I was so good at controlling everything with my mind that I dragged all of it along with me to the point where I got myself ill, sick, and my whole business and relationships went to shit. Right? So eventually, life's going to, if you don't listen, it's going to take a giant 2x4 and knock you across the head.
Beautiful. So you have the Soul Guru, a campaign.
Yes.
For Soul Guru.
Yep.
Did you talk on that?
Yeah. So
it sounds like the place that we need to go if we want to jump off the edge.
So I have a campaign. I have a campaign.
Yeah, what is it? Indiegogo? Or
yeah, so I have a campaign.
Whatever you want to say. I can edit this out, brother.
So I have a campaign, an Indiegogo campaign, to raise financial resources to help me continue to grow the website and the blog. And the point of the blog and the website is to share my own experiences as I go on this year-long journey about my own changing and transforming and awakening, the process of jumping off the ledge. But also, one amazing thing about travel is you meet some of the most incredible people you could imagine. Just amazing. And the way they're living is you've never come across people living these ways. And they're just people you just come across paths.
Like Tamala.
Yeah, and you just want to, if you share their stories, just seeing a different perspective on the way you can live your life and being given permission through hearing another person's story gives you permission to be more free, to live your own truth, to live how you want. So the Indiegogo helps support my own stories, my own wisdom, teachings I learned, and experiences, but also all the amazing travelers, teachers, shamans, and just incredible people from other countries, their own stories and wisdoms on the blog through video or writing or interviews and different things like that. And then Indiegogo also helps fund going to these really incredible workshops about relationships, about health, about well-being, how about, cultivating the land to become more one with nature and, feeding your body the nutrition it needs and different things like that. And then eventually it will support the building of the sanctuary. I don't know where it's going to be just yet. I want to really work through this entire journey and then let my own inner tuition or people I meet along the way guide me, and I know it's just going to show up. I know the place it needs to happen will just show up, and then I will root, and I'm going to make it happen.
What's going to happen at the sanctuary?
Oh, man, lots of great stuff. The sanctuary will be a place of health, well-being, transformation, workshops, training, yoga. It'll have a beautiful, huge temple where there'll be yoga classes coming through all the time.
Could I live there?
Yeah, we'll have guest places.
I was wondering. All right.
We'll have guest spots to be, yeah. And then it will also, we'll grow our own food. We'll teach people how to, cook and use the food and make and prepare meals in a huge kitchen. I've worked with clients for 11 years, and you can tell people all day long how to eat this because it's healthy. But if you don't physically show them how to do something, literally, even if it's as simple as buy an apple from a store, cut it up, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then put it in a bag, and then put it in their car, they're never going to do it. Right? So I want to not only show them how to make really healthy, incredible plant-based meals, but also show where it comes from, so they make the connection, the conscious connection of it coming from Mother Earth, seeing it grow, how it grows, taking it, and then preparing it, and then eating it, and then noticing how it feels in their body too.
So really it sounds like you're making almost every aspect of life, the most basic, taken for granted actions that we have into a ceremony.
Pretty much, yeah. And making food sacred again, because I think that's extremely important, especially now. And so, so it'll be a place for, reconnecting to your body, moving your body, and it'll also be a place for soul guru guidance, guidance sessions, wellness coaching sessions, and a place for anybody traveling through that has their own expertise or wisdom or their own medicine from their heart they want to offer, a place where they could potentially come through and share. It will also be, I've always, dance, so moving energy, sound, breath, movement. Those three things are the most powerful ways to process emotional energy in your body, thoughts, feelings. So dance is extremely important, as well as sound, movement. So having this temple, not only will we have workshops and yoga, but dance events, music, dance events, people from all around the world playing music, instruments, drum sessions, all kinds of wild, groovy stuff. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Really excited to see. I think by the time people are listening to this, there's going to be a link for it. So we'll get it all linked up.
Yeah, link it up.
To be able to see your website and all of that as well.
Yep.
Really, you're doing the Soul Guru journey today. This thing is already kicked off.
Pretty much, yeah.
So what's the best way to find you?
You can go to my website, brenthruska.com. You can also go to my Instagram, Soul Guru Fitness. And I also have a Soul Guru Facebook page that you can go to as well.
And you've got a great radio voice. If you had a podcast, I think you do really well.
Thank you.
I really encourage it. So let me know if you need help with that.
Okay, cool.
I would love to help you out.
Okay, cool.
Brent, thank you so much for sharing that journey. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
Dude, thank you so much for having me here. It was a great time.
It is my pleasure, and I'm really grateful to be able to witness this journey, having met each other at Life Coach Training months ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are living the Zen Master journey, and I really see some greatness happening today and in the future for you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate those words.
All right. Cheers, man.
Yeah. Cheers.